Milan, a city where creativity flows seamlessly between galleries, runways, and ateliers. Here, centuries of Italian artistic heritage meet the ever-evolving scene of art, fashion, and design. But where do these disciplines merge, and where do they draw the line? I'm Marzena Jarczak, and in the third season of Unseen, I'm heading to Milan to explore its unique creative ecosystem. I'll visit emblematic institutions and meet with pioneering designers, artists, and curators who shape the city's identity. From historic foundations to cutting-edge studios, I'll dive into the city's creative pulse, discovering not just how it influences our everyday lives, but how it shapes the future of culture. And of course, I am taking you with me. The second half of the 20th century was a turning point in Italian design, with groups like Memphis Milano shaping new visual languages. Michele De Lucchi, an architect, designer, artist, and member of Italian radical architecture and design movements, played a major role in this transformation. Known for his work with brands like Alessi and Vitra, and as Olivetti's director of design, De Lucchi has spent decades blending art, design, and architecture. We're meeting at his studio, AMDL Circle, to explore the vision behind his enduring creative legacy.
Exaggeration is the way to get out from conventionality. And without saying what is normal, we get conventional in everything that we do. That's the reason why we created Memphis, and in the 70s I was very attracted by radical architecture because it is a way to break conventionality and to break this standard way of thinking that you say it's like that because it's like that. Why? Everything is like that because we think that it's like that. But if we change our paradigm in our mind, everything looks different. And what we did is just to break these rules.
You started your creative journey as an architect and then designer, and later on you moved to the realm of art.
It's not just to jump from one discipline to the other, but it's just to find out which is my real role. And that was also the investigation of radical architecture in the 70s. We were looking just in the time of conceptual art, in the time of happenings and performances. In the moment in which artists they decided not to produce art, but to think to art, we thought, but which is our real role? What society is waiting for us? What is expecting from our activity? And that was the reason why we didn't design products or buildings, but we were just exploring this metaphysical world of the role of architects and designers.
So there is no strict division in your practice between design, architecture, and art?
No, the message of radical architecture was an architect, a designer, when he designs a space, an environment, or an object, he doesn't design only the shape of the object or the material of the room, walls and doors and so on. But he inspires the behavior of people inside the space, the behavior of people around this object. Because the object, they are symbols, they are communication tools, and they are full of informations, emotions, and opportunities to connect.
What makes you call an object well designed? What are the qualities that you're looking for?
I would say excitement.
Excitement?
Yes.
So it's not about functionality?
No. Functionality is obvious. As architect, as designer, I can tell you that everything that is looking too stylish, too finished, too completed, too well prepared, is old.
Making art is seen as a very personal and introspective process, and designing or creating architecture is more audience-oriented. How do you, in your practice, balance practicality and personal expression?
Using the zeitgeist as a reference. The zeitgeist is really giving the the right information about what is understandable in the world, what is new in the world, what is old in the world. And Zeitgeist is driving every creative exercise and every creative action. As humans, we need always to do something different. We are always looking to do something new, something experimental, because we want to evolve, simply. We are part of the evolution, but we are the responsible of the evolution.
So how do you think we can satisfy this hunger for new things?
We need always to find out a new concept for quality, our concept of beauty. For example, in Renaissance time, in the classical time, beauty was just an idea of harmony. And harmony was universal, was something that was collecting all the qualities of the human sphere. Since Romanticism, we believe that beauty belongs to ourselves. And everybody has the right to say, I like this, I don't like that. So beauty is relative. And this is the beauty of our time, that we are dealing with millions and billions of ideas of beauty. And we have a wonderful time because we have the opportunity to mix together many different ideas of beauty and creating continuously new ideas of beauty.
You say a lot and stress a lot the importance of today and now, but you also say that art, design and architecture have the power to change the future. Where do you see the source of this strength?
Creativity is a way to foresee the future, is a way to propose something for the future, is a way to inspire the future.
Do you think that innovation is as important in art as it is in design and architecture?
Definitely, yes.
Why?
Because, sorry, but we don't have any other chance. We have to develop. We have to continuously going on to finding out new reason to be alive.
Design has the power to shape a better, more meaningful future, but how can it be done responsibly? And why should it never be reduced to aesthetics alone? I'm on my way to Forma Fantasma, a studio known for its research-driven approach. Their work spans furniture, product design and installations, often questioning material origins, production processes and environmental impact. Their collaborations include institutions like MoMA and Serpentine Galleries, as well as brands such as Floss and Prada. I'm meeting Andrea Trimarchi and Simone Faresi, the duo behind Forma Fantasma, to discuss what it means to challenge design narratives today.
Which aspects of human life do you examine in your work?
Design has to do with life at many different levels. Of course, through design, we improve the life of people, but it is also connected to economy, to aesthetics, and also to ecology. So with our practice, instead of focusing exclusively to the needs of the final user, we are also interested in looking at these other aspects of design, which are also sometimes problematic. In the light of the ecological crisis, adding new things to the world is a responsibility. So for us, designing has also to do with making sure that what we do has a limited, if not a positive, impact in the environment.
So taking that into consideration, would you say that your designs are human-centered? Or because you focus so much on the environmental issues, they're nature-centered?
I think it is extremely important that design is human-centered in the sense that it should serve humans. On the other side, I think historically, the idea of human-centered design also lead to a dictatorship of the needs of the user. That is leading to overconsumption. So for us, it is not only about being human-centered, but also be critical.
Would you call an object well-designed if it serves only to the present without thinking about its impact to the future?
No, of course not.
No, absolutely. I think in this specific moment in time when we produce object, but even before designing, when we think about like a production of an object, we really need to understand all the impact that that action has. So with the studio, when we can, we try really to analyze and to dissect all the production steps. Of course, we are a commercial practice, but I think that, again, this like point of view of being a commercial studio, it's also quite a good one, because we can also intervene in the step of production. So we are not only analyzing and critical questioning the act of designing, but we can also have an impact in the production in itself.
So let's try to be, as you said, critical. What do we as humans need design for?
We need design to actually facilitate life, improve it, but I think also to sometimes also to push people to reflect on the conditions and the way we live. And there's a lot of improvements we can do, for instance, to facilitate better connections between people. If you think about, for instance, digital interfaces, they are extremely well designed, but they also facilitate unhealthy behaviors. So I think being designers, it is also about questioning really what we can do, not only fulfilling market's demand.
How close is your philosophy to the famous form follow functions, which is the key principle of functionalism, meaning that the way the object looks is driven by its intended purpose?
Design should always still refer back to this principle. On the other side, we should also question what function is. When you're sitting in a chair, the function of the chair is supporting the body in a comfortable position. But, for instance, a king is also sitting on a chair, but that chair is called a throne. And that object has the role not only to support the body, but to display power. I think there are also primary functions, which is, of course, you know, in the case of the chair, supporting the body. But there are secondary functions that are also equally important. Objects are not there only to perform, but actually also to convey meaning. We dress our bodies with clothing which are not there only for functional purposes but also for communicative purposes.
In your projects you balance the critical discourse with the aesthetics. Is the visual appeal of objects something that is just a byproduct of a deeper research and has a secondary meaning, or maybe it's a tool for communication with your consumers?
We all the time say that the aesthetic, the form, is a Trojan horse. So it's a way also to attract the people closer to the object.
And we still very much enjoy working with materials and working with the physicality of things. So I think very often the combinations between aesthetics and ethics, or aesthetics and ideas, it's not two divided things, but in the creative process they come together seamlessly.
People say that they recognize our style, even if we don't like to talk about style when we talk about design. But I would say that we never really start a project thinking about the form that the project will have.
No.
It's something that comes also with the process.
In your projects you often refer to either crafts tradition or vernacular objects. What is the role of craftsmanship in contemporary design?
When you are focusing on a high-quality industrial development, in preparations for the final industrial development of things, you also need a lot of prototyping and experiments. And those experiments, that mentality, is, I think, an heritage of craft. So I think the role of craft is to allow, I think, more spontaneous development of things. I think craft is not only about nostalgia. It's not only about the past. Tradition is not there to be protected, but to evolve. And I think the role of craft is to serve experimentations.
I'm interested in your relationship with art because many of your projects blur the line between design and arts. Why is maintaining this close relationship with art so important for you?
The space of a museum is a space of freedom to allow any discipline, I think, to investigate ideas in broader ways. When we work or we do our own shows in a museum, we do that with the aim not to present new products, but actually to discuss the culture of design, or to help people also understand what design is. On the other side, there's part of our practice is focusing on exhibition design. So we work on exhibiting works of artists, and that is something that we love to do because there is a huge tradition in Italy with fantastic architects and designers in the past that have been working with exhibition design. We like to work in that lineage.
And I think also these views from the inside, also being exhibition designer, working very close with the curators and with museum, allow us also to have an impact on the way we do exhibit our own work. I would say that design also is challenged to be much more clear to the users. And I think with art, there are not the same requests given to the artist. You know, artists can be more abstract. They don't need to be to explain fully what they do.
Or to be educational.
To be educational. In design, there is an expectation about that. I love it also. It's really part of the thing I love the most in doing exhibition in museums.
And what do you think is missing in the conversation, the global conversation about contemporary design?
The contemporary design is understood as an aesthetic exercise. And I think design is not only that. Design can really be a powerful tool for positive change on multiple levels, but as long as people narrow down design exclusively to aesthetics, which it is also about that, then it will always be understood as a form of styling, and I think that's extremely diminishing of the design practice.
Design can be a tool to tell powerful stories, but how can we ensure it goes beyond surface-level beauty? And what is the role of art in shaping these narratives? I'm heading to the residence of an architect and designer, Vincenzo De Coris, to explore the world of collectible design. Known for his one-of-a-kind pieces, De Coris blends raw industrial materials like fiberglass, stone and recycled metals with exceptional craftsmanship. We'll dive into his creative process, where art and craft come together.
What criteria does an object must meet to be considered collectible design?
Sicuramente il materiale è fondamentale. Per cui una ricerca di materiale inedito a volte, di materiali che non sono usati nel disegno industriale. E questa è la prima ricerca, il primo approccio. L'esperienza del collectible è molto legata all'arte. L'oggetto deve essere unico, deve essere poco ripetibile, cosa che invece è un concetto tradizionale nel disegno industriale, nella produzione industriale. Anche nelle edizioni limitate l'oggetto che viene realizzato non è mai uguale all'altro, e questa è già una definizione importante per il collettible. E soprattutto l'utilizzo di maestranze molto artigianali, perché l'oggetto viene costruito totalmente in maniera artigianale, ma soprattutto nel collectible design è molto importante, come nell'arte, la libertà di espressione, per cui non c'è limite a una creatività che va oltre la funzione e che va oltre a tutti quei canoni che sono di prassi nel disegno industriale.
But in the end, some of the objects you make have to be functional, if it's a table or if it's a chair. And do you feel that the function of the object is something that in that sense is limiting your artistic expression, or maybe the opposite, it gives a framework to your creative practice?
Capisco che gli oggetti debbano avere una funzione in alcuni casi, ma molto spesso questa funzione è determinata dall'ambiente stesso. Io non parto percepire la funzione come un obbligo, come un sistema che mi porta a disegnare l'oggetto. Io penso ad un oggetto che si possa integrare eventualmente con una funzione, ma molto spesso, voglio dire, è così libero il pensiero che può essere interpretato in vari modi. Un oggetto per sedersi a volte può diventare una scultura, un vaso per mettere dei fiori diventa un'ulteriore scultura.
When you think about your practice and the work that you do you call yourself a designer, an artist, an architect? If you had to define yourself with one word, what would it be?
Sicuramente penso di avere un'attitudine più all'arte rispetto all'architettura o al design industriale. Ho disegnato del design industriale, degli oggetti industriali, ma ho subito abbandonato in quanto non trovavo proprio la mia dimensione. Credo che abbia una grande passione per l'artigianato, per poter realizzare direttamente io il materiale, realizzare la scultura, l'oggetto, per cui sono più vicino a un atteggiamento quasi da artista artigiano.
Could you walk me through your creative practice from the initial idea to the final piece?
Questa è una domanda sempre molto complicata per un creativo, è una domanda che La creatività non ha mai né un inizio né una fine e il processo a volte è stabile o può essere anche confuso. Secondo me è sempre il risultato finale che determina il tuo lavoro. C'è un inizio che è accademico, per cui si parte dal disegno, si parte dallo schizzo, si parte da un'idea semplicemente. E il processo, come dicevo prima, non è mai chiarissimo, ma è quella confusione artistica che ti porta ad ottenere poi un risultato eccellente. Il percorso finale può essere anche contaminato da altre immagini che tu vedi, che percepisci, da un sentimento che ti colpisce di più.
And what role does craftsmanship play in your practice?
L'artigianato e gli artigiani in sé credo che siano un valore assoluto nel mio lavoro. Io mi avvalgo di persone che hanno una grande sensibilità nel creare l'oggetto con me, per cui io ho le mani sempre molto rovinate perché lavoro molto, lavoro con le mie mani, lavoro insieme agli artigiani e questo processo credo che dia valore anche all'oggetto finale, perché è costruito dalle persone, è costruito da tante mani diverse, non è solo costruito da un'idea, da una motivazione, ma è cresciuto attraverso l'esperienza anche di molti artigiani.
When you think about the future of design, do you think it will continue to merge with art or will it go back to the principles of more functional design?
Spero che il design continui ad essere sempre più creativo, sempre più di ricerca. Credo che l'utilizzo della tecnologia aiuterà molto il progettista nel ricercare delle forme sempre più contemporanee, sempre più nuove e comunque è un appoggio tecnologico che è fondamentale per i nostri anni. Io spero che questo concetto di avvicinamento all'arte sia una costante, perché come abbiamo detto sin dall'inizio l'arte è completamente libera da qualsiasi costrizione, per cui dà la possibilità per un'espressione completamente visionaria ed è questo che mi auguro che diventi il design visionario.
Art continues to inspire designers, including those working in the realm of fashion. How do these two disciplines fit into each other and where do they draw the line? In the third episode of Unseen, I'll be seeking answers in the studios of fashion theorists and practitioners. Ciao!